Are you someone that have developed unhealthy habits like using drugs to numb your pain or using alcohol to numb your pain or probably avoiding situations instead of going head on to deal with stressful situation, or probably you find yourself overworking not because you have so much work to do or you have a deadline, but because you are trying to avoid a stressful situation and you don't know what to do to overcome this? Then this video is for you. Today, we'll be talking about coping mechanisms, how people try to deal with their stress and their anxiety. And then we'll be talking about different types of coping mechanisms, like healthy coping mechanisms and the unhealthy ones. Then we'll also talk about how to identify what type of coping mechanism you have, and then how to replace unhealthy coping mechanisms with healthy coping mechanisms. My name is Dr. Idara Iyang. I am a general practitioner and a mental health coach, and we try to help people that are dealing with different mental health illnesses such as anxiety, stress, depression, and we try to help them go from a state of stress and anxiety and depression to a state of peace, calm, happiness, in order for them to live a productive, beautiful life in their finances, in their relationships. Okay, so in case you think that you need help in overcoming stress and anxiety and depression, then you can go ahead and click the link in the description below to book a free one-on-one consultation with us. Or you can go ahead and send us an email in the email address in the description below. Thank you. Now, what is coping mechanism? Coping mechanisms are habits that people develop in order to try and cope with their stress or cope with anxiety or cope with depression. Now, there are different types of coping mechanism. We have the unhealthy and healthy coping mechanism. Unhealthy coping mechanisms are those mechanisms that actually gives you quick relief. Like once you engage in those habits, you get quick relief from the stress and from the anxiety. But the bad part is that in the long run, your anxiety, your stress, and your depression even gets worse. While healthy coping mechanisms are those mechanisms you engage in that might not give you immediate, significant stress relief, but in the long run, it equips you with everything you need to manage your stress and anxiety and depression. All right. Now, how to identify what type of coping mechanism that you have. So I'm going to give you some examples of unhealthy coping mechanism. Number one is avoidance. Now, this is something that is very, very common. You are in a stressful situation, and instead of staying and dealing with the stressful situation, you just decide to just walk away from it, or you decide to just turn off your brain and act like it does not exist, like that stressful situation is not in existence in your life. Now, this is very bad. This is very dangerous, because the fact is that that stressful situation does exist, and the earlier you face it head on, the better for your life and for that situation. Another unhealthy coping mechanism is substance abuse. You see people, when they get sad or depressed or they receive bad news, they decide to take on hard drugs or take on alcohol and then overdose on these drugs and alcohol or other substances. And that actually does help to relieve them immediately they engage in it. But in the long run, they find that their anxiety and their stress and their depression just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Another unhealthy coping mechanism is overworking. This can be found in situations where the source of your stress is in the place you live. Probably you have a stressful partner, or you have a stressful child, and you just don't want to go home. So you decide to just immerse yourself in work and just keep working and working and working in order to try and shield yourself and shield your emotions from whatever is stressing you. It's not just limited to when your stress source is at home though, but you see it mostly in, for example, when a husband and wife is having marital conflict, you see the man just stay outside and keep working and keep working. You understand? So that is very dangerous, because at the end of the day, you are jeopardizing not just that relationship that you have with your spouse or your family or whoever that is involved. You're also jeopardizing your work, because at the end of the day, your health will be affected and you end up losing on all sides. Another unhealthy coping mechanism is indulging on too much screen time. Have you seen a situation where somebody is depressed and they just don't want to do anything on that day? So they end up just staying in bed and just watching movies and movie, and time is going, life is going by. They're not doing anything productive with their life or with their time. And it's not just one day. I mean, it's okay to take a break, but when it becomes one day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, then that is something that needs to be addressed. Now let's talk about the healthy coping mechanism. Healthy coping mechanism is very, very beneficial because what healthy coping mechanisms does is that they help you to identify the root cause of that anxiety, that stress, that depression. And then after identifying it, it then equips you with what you need to be able to take care of yourself and also be able to develop emotional growth. So examples of healthy coping mechanisms include number one, exercising. Exercising is a very good mood lifter. Yes, exercising when you feel down, when you feel depressed, helps to improve your mood and also helps to calm your mind down because now you're moving your body, you're jumping, you're running. It helps to bring your mind that is racing with thoughts and fears and anxiety to concentrate on that physical activity of exercising. Another healthy coping mechanism is mindful breathing. In a previous video of mine on this channel, I've spoken about how to engage in mindful breathing. So you can go ahead and watch it in my channel. I'm going to link it somewhere on the screen. So you can engage in this mindful breathing before you encounter your triggers or while you're in that particular stressful situation, or you could even put it in your daily routine. Like in the morning, you can do your mindful breathing, afternoon, another type of mindful breathing, and then in the evening, another type of mindful breathing. You can schedule it for the whole day for 5 days in a week. So that's one healthy coping mechanism. Another type of healthy coping mechanism is journaling. Journaling is very, very, very helpful. So when you're having like racing thoughts and just basically not being able to figure things out, you can get a pen and a piece of paper and then just write out everything that is in your mind. Okay. Or when you engage in mindful breathing or you engage in any exercises, you can write down, you can journal it and be like, okay, I felt this type of way before I started the mindful breathing. And then while I was doing the mindful breathing, I felt these changes. And then after doing the mindful breathing, how do I feel? Do I feel better? Do I feel indifferent? Just write. Journal how you feel. Journal your thoughts. Journal the things that you would like to do that day to help you with your anxiety and your stress. Writing is very, very helpful. Another healthy coping mechanism is connecting with other people. This is very useful. You might not necessarily know how helpful it is until you've experienced that depression and that anxiety, and then you've isolated yourself from other people. And then when you come out and start talking to other people, you just find yourself feeling much, much better. I have felt this. I have experienced this before. It's very, very powerful when you go out and talk to other people. You don't have to go out and just start talking to so many people at the same time. You can start with just one person. You can just start with saying good morning to a stranger at a coffee line, so you can just greet someone or compliment someone along the way. It will help to improve your mood. And then another healthy coping mechanism is having a creative outlet. Now, it could be through music, it could be through dancing, it could be through art, drawing some beautiful diagrams. It could be through creative writing, like telling a story. Engage yourself in some creative activities. It's very, very, very powerful. So how can you replace your unhealthy coping mechanisms with healthy coping mechanisms? So now that we know what unhealthy coping mechanisms are, and we also know what healthy coping mechanisms are, this should be easy. So what I would like for you to do if you have unhealthy coping mechanisms and want to replace them with healthy ones is build something called a coping mechanism toolkit. Now, what should this toolkit contain? So remember I spoke about journaling. It should contain a book, a notebook or a journal, and a pen. Number two, it should contain relaxing music that you know that when you play, when you listen to them, it actually helps to relax you. Then number three, it should contain inspirational quotes or positive affirmation, things that when you listen to or when you read would actually improve your mood and then give you positive thoughts. Then number four, it should contain photos or symbols or memories that actually makes you happy. And then number five, it should contain something called stress ball. All those squishy balls that when you feel your thoughts is racing and then you're trying to ground yourself and bring yourself back to the present, you can use something called a stress ball. You can use that stress ball and then just squish it, press it and concentrate on that, the density or the weight or the diameter of that squishy ball. That will help to ground you in the present. So your toolkit can contain even more stress relieving things, but these are just some things that your stress relieving or coping toolkit should contain. So that's number one, creating a coping toolkit. Then a second way of how to replace unhealthy coping mechanism with healthy ones is by practicing self-compassion. This is so important. When you go through stressful situation or anxiety or depression, I want you to replace those self-critical thoughts with encouraging and compassionate thoughts. It's important to practice that every day. Then a third method is by creating an actual routine. Now, for example, I have given you a list of the things that should be in your toolkit. You have a journal, you have music, a squishy ball, photos and memories that make you feel happy. And then we also have the idea of exercising and then breathing mindfully. I've given you examples of healthy coping mechanisms. So just sit down and make a routine. You can be like, in the morning, I'm going to exercise for 30 minutes. And then I can do one breathing mechanism for 5 minutes. And then in the afternoon, you could decide to do journaling, writing down your thoughts, writing down your feelings, journaling what you plan to do, and then writing positive affirmations. And then in the evening, you could probably write down positive affirmations as well. You could engage in small stretching exercises, and then you could also engage in breathing exercises as well, or even grounding exercise. So just sit down and make a routine of what you're going to do from morning till evening, and then you practice it 5 days in a week. That is so powerful. That is so effective. Then another method is by setting boundaries. It's important to be able to say no to anything that does not serve you, that does not serve your mental health or your physical health. And then finally, you can go ahead and seek professional help. It's important to know that there's nothing wrong in going to someone that is professionally equipped in helping you in situations like this to ask for help. Go ahead, see a therapist, see a psychiatrist, see a mental health coach. And that is something that we do here. So if you need help from me, you need help from our team, then you can go ahead and click on the link in the description below and book a free one-on-one consultation with us. That is how to identify if you have unhealthy coping mechanism, and then how to replace those unhealthy coping mechanisms with healthy coping mechanisms. In our next video, I'll be talking about how to overcome anxiety in social gatherings. I'll be giving you practical steps that you can use to overcome anxiety whenever you are in a social gathering. So I'm going to see you in my next video. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you gained value from watching it. And if you did, please don't forget to like, subscribe, click on the notification bell so that you can be notified whenever we drop a new video, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you very much for watching, and bye.